of imports in terms of these defense electronic warfare technologies. This is the dream that we had. And go to the next slide. Today, we are the first company in India to build a DRFM-based radar target simulators. Name any radar today, the state-of-the-art radar that is being built. These simulators have been used to test. So we are the first company in India now to deploy a fully working anti-drone system deployed across almost 25 bases. There are about 10 companies in India, abroad. Majority of the companies have participated, and we are the only company qualified today and then technically cleared and supplied these systems. We are the first company in India today, first private company to design and develop a X-band rotating radar, a first private company. Otherwise, only DRDO could do this. And we have done it in a phenomenal time of 2 years, right from the scratch. The entire design, deployment of 25 systems in the field. No other company in the world could have done that. Now, again, we are the first company today working on phased array radars to detect these small drones. There are a lot of things like that we have achieved, and this is all propelled by a dream, a mission, a vision, and the path that has been laid by Dr. Kalam. A big salute to him. Can you go to the next slide? So now, this is question for you. What's your dream for the country? What's your dream for the country? So if you have not decided it, please start thinking by the end of the day today. Try to at least find a way. You will not be able to fix it today, but have a dream for this country, okay? You don't have to do a big sacrifice for achieving this. I'll tell you what is to be done for that. Can you go to the next slide, please? So in order to do that, first of all, you need to understand who we are. Babal Jusera? Hello? Babal Jusera? Enti the famous dialogue? Nenu evarni? Yeah? So after answering this question, you know the kind of enthusiasm, the kind of plan, it may be a cinema, but try to draw the inferences. This is what exactly happens if you try to understand who we are. You know, Dr. Jagadish and then team, I just realized that they're working phenomenally well on understanding this part. Just go. Next slide. So in order to understand, you know, where we wanted to head and all, so to decide that you need to understand our past. This is our education system, a phenomenal education system few centuries ago. The entire world used to look at us to learn. People used to walk miles and, you know, thousands of kilometers in order to read, in order to study here in this country. So that is the kind of glory that this country had. Can you just go to the next slide, please? And this is all our ancient science, engineering, technology, which has not been either properly not documented, or the documents were really shattered because of the invasions that have happened. And we have lost all this glory, okay, because of a lot of reasons. But the 200 years of conditioning made us to actually forget everything on this. And we started looking at the other countries, the Western world, everywhere else as, you know, the supremacy, and then started, you know, forgetting our roots. In fact, we forgot. No, this is the time that we should awaken all of that, try understand our past, and think that we can bring this glory back. Because, as the movie lo chepadu kada, mee genes, DNA lo ekkada untayani, we can awaken all of them, and we should be able to bring this glory back. And this is right now is happening. I'll just, you know, go to the next slide, please. Yeah, next, please. You see, this is what we have done. So what is our biggest strength today as a country? That next one, 17.78% of the world population are we. And majority of it is youth. No other country in the planet has this advantage. And this is something we should capitalize on you, and that is you. You can make the difference, and we can bring that glory back with this power. And we already started doing that, say it as Mangalyaan, Chandrayaan 3. These are some of the phenomenal missions that the world has not seen. Something like this can happen. And the missions like ASAT, you are going to listen from the chief architect of this product in the evening, Dr. Satish Reddy. So we have so many visionary leaders, and then You see the recent Oscar that has been won, it was not won on the thought process or, the ideology that the Western has built. Because this product, the cinema has been built from the roots, the native stories of this country, which have that strength, which can get the recognition all over the world. Please try to understand that if we do this, we will be able to, if we understand this, we will be able to bring the glory back. Go to the next slide, please. So where do we start? There are a lot of options. Go to the next slide. So we can earn that respect there. Please go. Next. So now defense is one area where phenomenal things are happening. I'll just sum it up in another 5 minutes and then we'll try to close because there are a lot of speakers. This has all happened because of you. How many of you have come on time? So the rest have actually spoiled our time. Can you give one commitment today to me? Repeat with me. From today, we will ensure wherever there is a schedule, we will be on time. We will be on time. We will be on time. So, please respect your time and another's time. Okay, so if you just practice this, your life is going to change phenomenally. Okay, so you for example, in the defense, what is the opportunity? Just understand the warfare. Warfare was once with swords, then with guns, then with tanks, then with aircrafts. Now today, a phenomenal thing has happened in the, in the flying. Next slide, please. This is what has happened in Azerbaijan war. Next. And this has created an immense potential opportunity, both pros and cons, towards the building the drones as well as building systems which are against these drones. This is completely a new warfare. Now the entire world is actually looking at, and there is an ample opportunity in this area. So today, in the last 4 or 5 years, the kind of efforts that the government is doing, especially to promote the defense industries, is phenomenal. There is a program called IDEX. There are various other programs. If you just have an idea, okay, and there are problems being listed, if you think that you can provide a solution, you will get an order, you will get a fund, you can build a company, okay, and that is quite possible. That is the kind of environment that today we have. Go to the next slide. So if you wanted to know about all these programs, you can anyway personally talk to me. I'm just saying that there is an ample opportunity to learn and then build these technologies and then generate employment opportunities or work for these industries in this area. So there is a huge potential. You can set up your career or you can set up an enterprise in this area. So these are all statistics. Just go to the next slide. So this is what we have done. From the largest importer of the equipment of the defense, we started now exporting these systems. In the last year, we did it about 21,000 crores. 4 years ago, the government has set up a goal to reach 35,000 crores by 2025. So there is almost there at 21,000, and no surprise, next year if we even pass the 35,000 crore, and that is something which, what does it mean? It means there is an ample opportunity to set up your career or set up a company. Go to the next slide. So you need to do a lot of things, okay? You need to question why, what you wanted to do, figure it out right now. It takes time, but there is nothing wrong. So if you get a job, get into it, but start looking at, what do you want? And don't think that, you can set up great career only out of this country. Their great career can be set up in this country also. If you wanted to learn something, go spend, a few 4 or 5 years and then again come back and then try to see that you are a part of this, the big mission that is happening right now in this country. Go to the next. So you have to be ready with all these changes. There will be risk. So you'll have to understand how to build that appetite for you. And start thinking a little bit away from the comfort zone. When you want to do things differently, everybody will finish their B.Tech, go to a software job, spend their career, have a nice weekend, and do all that is fine. But when you wanted to set up this kind of path, little bit of comfort zone, you have to come out from. Next. Go to the a few more slides. So what's the key? Just go to the next slide. You please take a decision that this is what we wanted to do. Any support that is required, we will be ready. I'll just summarize with a few things. Can you go to the next slide, please? Go to the last slide. I wanted to, finally take one confirmation from all of you and then try to close. So what is the commitment? There are three things that I wanted you to commit. You see, lot of time, many times we'll complain, this is not good, that is not good, this has to be changed, that has to be changed. But all this change that has to come, internally from us. So just repeat with me. We will be the change that we are looking for. So if you wanted to build a great nation, first I should start thinking that, okay, I will do this for this country. So that is what this, change means. Second one, the responsibility. See, wherever you go, try to act with a sense of responsibility. Whether you are walking on the street, driving your vehicle, whether there are rules, just be responsible. Come on. We will be responsible citizens. We behave with all the social sense wherever we go. Then keep this thought process of the nation first. Come on. We will keep all the efforts to build a strong nation. Jai Hind. Thank you. Maybe questions and all we can take later. Do you want me to take the questions? Some time is there. So if you have any questions, maybe one or two. Okay, fine. You can start.
Thank you, Dr. Nagendra Babu, sir, for the insightful session. Let's take a cultural break. Please welcome K. Jaishnavi.
explore new frontiers in the aerospace science. Over to you, sir.
A lovely good morning, ladies and gentlemen. If I see all of you, I am only reminded of a famous Tyagaraja Kirtana, which simply says, Endulo Mahanubhavulu, mi andariki na vandanam. Friend, it is very interesting that you are and the kind of different things that are happening all around the globe. How many of you have seen Indian Institute of Science? If some of you have not come, I urge you to visit this great institution. This is one of the very unusual places which existed before India got independence. So IASC has been there since 1909, and that's the main building. The aerospace department has been there from 1942, just after the First World War. Go to the next one, please. I don't know if you recognize all the different photos that you see on this particular slide. Maybe do you recognize Swami Vivekananda? Do you understand or do you recognize any other names there? The one at the top, bottommost is Jamshedji Nusurwanji Tata, J.N. Tata. I don't think you would recognize the other two portraits that I have shown there. In fact, there is a very interesting story about Indian Institute of Science. I thought I would share on the occasion of 93rd birthday of Dr. Kalam. Can you go to the next one slide? This is the original letter which was written by J.N. Tata to Swami Vivekananda. Both of them seems to have met on the journey to Vancouver, and Swamiji was actually going to address the World Parliament of Religion. And then J.N. Tata was essentially going there to get steel making technology to this great Jamshedpur plant. And this letter is very interesting, and I was fortunate to get a copy of this letter and hand it over to Dr. Kalam during our centenary celebration. Until then, nobody thought Swami Vivekananda and J.N. Tata had actually met. Swamiji seems to have asked J.N. Tata, what is the purpose of your journey? I am going there to get steel making technology. That great Hindu monk immediately retorted, Westerners may give you technology, but who will teach you material science? It was that one spark that J.N. Tata already was planning to have an institution for ancient aesthetics and wisdom. In fact, he writes that who else other than you can be the best champion of an institution where ancient aesthetics gets combined with modern science. Go to the previous slide, please. It was around the same time after Swami Vivekananda and J.N. Tata, both in IASC came into being. But when J.N. Tata died, he divided his property into two parts. He regarded this yet-to-be-born Science Institute as his own son. And even today, we get rent from the properties which are named in IASC in Nariman Point, Mumbai. We get about 3.5 crores. That is thought leadership, friends. That is thought leadership. And that great lady whom you see in the center, she is the mother of Nalvadi Krishnaraja Odayar, who was the king of Mysore. But in fact, when IASC came into being, Nalvadi Krishnaraja Odayar, whose photo you see on the top, he was only 9 years old. That great mother, when Padamsha and Sister Nivedita went to Mysore Samstana asking for land. She said, take as much land as you want. And the kind of land we got in those days was 484 acres. Today in IASC, 1 feet, square feet, 45,000 rupees. Imagine the kind of donation that that great lady did. But she never stepped into the campus of IASC even once. What is more ironical, when she sandal soap. Mysore sandal soap patent was actually developed in Indian Institute of Science Industrial Chemistry Department. Patent was actually developed in Indian Institute of Science Industrial Chemistry Department. Patent was sold for 8 rupees and 30 annas in 1938. In 1938. Don't think innovations happen only today. Innovations have been happening on the face of this earth since time immemorial. Even today, Mysore Sandal Soap Factory is hardly about 1.5 kilometers from IAS. The reason why I showed this is, we should always remember 3 people in our life. Please don't forget the first nursery teacher who welcomed you into the nursery when you came out of the laps of your mother. The founding, pranams to the founding fathers. Go to the next one, please. Next one. This is a common question that I just want to address today because all of you are engineering students. Everybody has a doubt, sir, what is engineering? What is science? And what is technology? Correct? Do you have such doubts? Or you don't have such doubts? If you don't have such doubts also, please start thinking in this line. I am taking a parallel from, say, maybe the Puranas. I am a big fan of the ancient Indian tradition because if you don't understand your culture and nature, there is no future. It is very important for us to understand our culture and our outer nature. Brahmadeva is somebody who is actually responsible for all the creation. A new information, a new thought always comes from basic science. And that is why nobody recognizes science. Society doesn't recognize science. Society always wants to look at products, always wants to look at technologies. Whereas without good science, there can be no engineering, there can be no technology. Then you will ask me a question, sir, what is really science is? Because you are very fond of definitions, right? In my view, a systematic, logical way of understanding outer nature is actually science. You should learn the habit of asking question why and finding answers to that. In fact, there is a vacancy for 30,000 prompt engineers today in the society. And the job of prompt engineers is to ask right kind of questions. Maybe use ChatGPT or GitHub. So you all should learn to ask questions by which you can understand outer nature. That is why in India for Brahmadeva you don't have many temples. Probably 1 or 2 temples because no one remembers science after second PUC. Till then everybody says study science, science, science. But the moment you get into engineering, you only do physics, chemistry, mathematics in the first 2 semesters. Afterwards, all the teachers of science departments are only organizing exams and cultural duty in engineering colleges, which is a very sad state of affairs. Then you will ask me, what is engineering? Engineering is all about asking a question, why not? And engineering, I always compare with Narayana. Narayana is not just Dashavatara. He has got several avatars, including Swiggy, Zomato. In fact, in India today, we produce close to 23 lakh engineers. Out of that, only about 84,000 are employable. Remaining people are all finding some job or the other in this country. So you are all good Narayana, not just Dashavatar, but several avatars you have. But then what is technology? Technology is more like Shiva. The day a new technology is born, it is bound to die. It is in this Brahma Vishnu Maheshwara, Srishti Sthiti Laya, that we are trying to look at Industry 5.0. Can you go to the next one? In the recent time, of course, go to the next one. You are also talking about two more things, namely Ma Saraswati, and also in the same time you are also talking about Krishna. Lord Krishna, in some sense, when he opened his mouth to Ma Yashoda, he saw the entire world. That is the story, right? And that story is almost like the first scanning electron microscope that you would have ever imagined. And today, knowledge is money. Knowledge is wealth. How do you convert information into knowledge, and that knowledge becoming your wisdom will fetch you jobs? And it is in this context, friends, you should look at how Industry 5.0 has emerged. Go to the next one. Of course, Industry 5.0, in one slide I have just compared here, people have talked about several industrial revolutions. But what is very special about Industry 5.0 is, from mass production, we are now moving towards mass customization. Everybody wants everything to be unique. You all have cell phones here. Have you ever wondered what is the science behind a cell phone? You don't care. You want to go to the shop. You want to get Apple iPhone free of cost. That is the value of product or technology. Nobody bothers about what is there inside, and that is the reason why we don't even look at fundamental science very carefully. From today, I want you to do a very simple experiment. Please go back to your own kitchen and find out what kind of kitchen chemistry is at work. Your mother makes wonderful food for you. All of you would be eating, say, rice. Maybe you should figure out how rice is made, what kind of nutrients that it have, how does it get digested in our human body. These are all questions one should ask about. The curiosity-driven questioning is what science is all about. And that is actually now coming back in a big way in the era of Industry 5.0. If you have some new information by which you can understand and make a difference, you are wanted. Nobody is interested in your degrees. Degrees are there only to get and study. But then tomorrow, if someone is going to pay you money, it is all only depends upon what kind of skill sets do you have. Go to the next one, please. Friends, I just want you to just think for a moment. I don't know whether you have asked such question. Human body is probably one of the most complicated evolutionary thing that you can ever see of. In fact, do you know that it has taken 33 million years from an amoeba to Homo sapien? We have evolved over 33 million years. In our human body, friends, we have something like 37.2 trillion cells. How much is 1 trillion? 1 trillion is 1,000 billion. And you don't even think that we have such a complicated system. Every second, there is a million reactions that are taking place in our body. There are 100 billions in our brain which are working in unison. And there is more than 120,000 kilometers of blood vessel in our body. Every second, this heart keeps on pumping. Did you know that nature has given you that wonderful gift? And what is that gift? Whether you like it or not, in a day, 2 bypasses are actually happening to all of us. And 1 bypass surgery is actually equivalent to 6 lakh rupees. Which means everybody sitting in this audience, we are not millionaires. We are actually multi-billionaires. Just count 2 bypass surgeries in a day. And even if you take 2 lakh rupees, it becomes 4 lakh. And 4 into 30 will be 1.2 crore is your worth. We never value this body. And this body, friends, I want you to do one simple thing from today onwards. I don't care whether you study, whether you repeat after me, nothing. Please sweat every day. If you don't play games and sweat every day, your deha sthiti will not be all right. Friends, please remember, if your body, deha sthiti is all right, if your manosthiti is fine, if your atma sthiti is fine, your paristhiti will take care of itself. We all talk of so many big things in life. We have wonderful body. We have a very nice waste disposal system. But unfortunately here we do not have a waste disposal system. We have all kinds of junk thoughts which are there in our body, in our mind. The day we learn how to control this thought process, life will be very, very pleasant. It is in this context we are looking at all kinds of sensors. In fact, Australians last week they claimed they have built a bionic eye. NASA spent $25 billion on bionic eye, yet they could not sustain. Please take care of your body. There can be no robotic arm better than your arm. So we all should learn how to take care of our body. Don't take it for granted. Go to the next one, please. What is it that you should do in your university education? University education, please learn to lose jobs. What you are learning in college today will not fetch you food even for 4 years. If you think I am very happy, I will get a degree, I will get a job and settle down, God only save you, because you will be kicked out of the job not more than 4 years' time. They are all becoming irrelevant. I popularly call this as what is called as a 5-4-3-2-1 syndrome. I don't know if you have heard about this. Life is not all about 5-figure salary, 1 4-wheeler, 1 3-bedroom house, 1 boy or 1 girl, 1 husband or 1 wife. No. Life is far beyond that. Your job and your passion are two different things in life. So what you would see in the next important arena in Industry 5.0 is whether you are adaptable, whether you are ready to learn new things every day. As long as I live, so long do I learn, said Swami Paramahamsa. You should be willing to learn every day. And that learning process is till you die. Even your grandfather learned how to use a mobile phone at an age of 90. Can't you learn at an age of 19? You will be able to do. So it is very important for you to have not sofa set, TV set, dining set in the home. Important. Clear? Go to the next one, please. Lot of disruptions you will see. Humans will live probably 150 years. This is my own personal musing. You will find all kinds of things, including flying cars into colonizing Mars, Moon, all kinds of gadgets. Your mobile phone shelf life is only 5 years. Probably you will use your palm itself as a screen in another 3 years' time. But the beauty in all of this is nobody bothers when new things come. We all jump into that as if it existed when we were born. Did any of you go to a class where they taught you how to use a mobile phone? Nobody went to a class. Even a vegetable vendor learned how to use a mobile phone. How? How many of you watch movies here? I am sure all of you watch movies. Have you seen a movie? How many hours? Maybe 1 hour or 1.5 hours. Everybody, or maybe some movies, maybe 3 hours. I don't know. Have you seen a movie where the story is told twice or thrice? Story is always said only once. Songs are also played only once. Dialogues are also only once. But friends, everybody in this audience, when you come out, you will know what is the color of the dress worn by the heroine. What is the stunt done by the hero. You will be able to repeat the story although you have just heard it only once. Why is it that we don't have the same mindset when we open the textbook? Hard work, sorry if I sound little vague, hard work according to me is a bogus concept. Kastam padaddu jeevitamlo, ishtam padandi. If you learn what you do, if you love what you do, you don't need anybody preaching you. It is very important in this context. Please remember, lot of evolutions will take place. Be ready to face the change. Go to the next one, please. There are only 3 things that you should remember. Just as the mind, body and soul, knowledge, information, as well as wisdom. How many of you are using Google? I am sure all of you would have used Google. You can try this simple experiment right here in the hall. If you ask Google, tomato, what is tomato? It would say tomato is a fruit. You can try this out. But have you ever eaten a fruit salad where they use tomato? Tomato is a fruit, is information. Not using tomato in fruit salad is knowledge. Actually implementing it is wisdom. You should learn how to get knowledge. In internet, there is lot of knowledge, lot of information available. There is very little knowledge. And the only way that can actually happen is if you keep your mind open. Go to the next one. I just listed some several technologies that would happen. I will not get into the detail except to tell you that you guys are very lucky. In fact, we saw computers only when we were in third year engineering. But today, I did not buy a single hard copy textbook to my own daughter. She studied everything with the help of Kindle. You are all born out of digital world. And I have immense faith in the youth of this country because you guys are very impatient. We were afraid to talk to our parents, but you are not afraid. You are going to tell somebody on the face, you are wrong. And I believe it is that impatience which will propel this great nation to greater heights in the years to come. Please don't ever stop asking question why and asking and questioning every decision that you do in life. Go to the next one. Of course, there are several things including electric aviation, carbon dioxide, climate change, all kinds of technology. But please remember, please protect this planet because this is the only planet on earth that we have found till date where life exists in this universe. Nowhere else there is life. And notwithstanding all our great space odysseys, there is nowhere else there is life. Go to the next one. Of course, we are going to look at green hydrogen, whole synthesis, all kinds of things in the years to come. Go to the next one. I'll just spend some few minutes because you keep hearing about big data, artificial intelligence, neural network, and that is where the big jobs are there. In fact, the new names are coming up now. There is a job called data lake engineers. And whom do we need? We need people with mechanical, electrical, hardcore engineering background, but with an ability to do cloud computing, with an ability to plot thousands or millions of data points. Excel will not be able to plot more than 100 or 200 or maybe 1,000 data points. So cloud computing, so many things we keep hearing, and it is all in the mind. I told you that the mind has got 100 billion neurons. I don't know how many of you will remember the two names that I have mentioned here, two photos. Of course, the one from Vishweshwaraya is somebody who is known as one of the greatest engineers. In fact, a very interesting story in his life when he was traveling in a train in Nagpur, in the middle of the night, he pulled the chain. And he said, please go and see 3 kilometers at a distance, the fish bolt for the track has been removed. Because the track was removed, the fish bolts were removed, the vibration was completely different. And he said if he had gone, there would have been a major accident. That was probably the first example that I have read in my life. And condition monitoring. Today, people are trying to measure the frequency of the bearing and trying to understand how long the bearing will survive. Of course, you would not have seen the monk that I have put in the bottom half. His name is Swami Sureshanandaji Maharaj. He was my warden in Sri Ramakrishna Vidyashala, Mysore, which is one of the oldest residential school where I was fortunate to study. And this Hindu monk during the stage of 1980s to remember all the roll numbers of 400 people. He also used parents' name. He also used to remember from which place I actually used to come. In fact, when I joined, these are all some of the important technologies that I have listed in the digital world, which is very important for you. Maybe you can share this presentation with the participants in case if they are interested at much later. I will not get into the detail. Go to the next one. I'll just show you this one example. I will take about just 5 minutes and then before I wrap up, sir, because this is important, having traveled maybe more than 600 kilometers. Give me another 10 minutes, I will wind up. I don't know how many of you know about this particular story. This man, whom you see is a nuclear scientist who was there in Iran. He was having coffee along with his friend. And what you see on the other side is a robotic rifle, which was actually operated 3,000 kilometers away by Mossad sitting in Tel Aviv. And they actually fired 2 bullets after recognizing the face of the nuclear scientist who was actually having coffee. Nobody else was actually damaged, no collateral damage. This is not some story. This actually happened about few years ago. This is the power of electromechanical systems seamlessly merging with computers. That people actually use, every teacher has an app. There are several cameras in the auditorium. And if I take a good picture of your face, I can get close to 9 emotions to an accuracy of 95%. So the teacher will know how many times the student was looking at him, how many times he was seeing the mobile phone, how many times he was turning left side, right side, yawning. Things are changing at a very rapid rate today. This is one classical example of how electromechanical systems are merging. So one advice for you friends, please go back to your home and find out what is the voltage rate should learn to operate with your hands. Go to the next one. You can play this movie. This, of course, some of you might have seen with Boston Dynamics. And what is very interesting is China now has officially ordered manufacturing of close to 5,000 robots, which will be deployed in the shipping wreck, wherever they remove the goods from the shipyard, which means logistics. Drone-mounted robots are also becoming a reality. Robotic soldiers is a reality. Of course, the Robo movie, which was so famously done by Shankar a few years ago, is actually a reality. And there are primary schools in China where a robo is actually teaching. Gone are the days if some teachers are there, teaching profession is going to be very, very risky. Please don't keep the old notes and continue to teach in classrooms, because a student will say, sir, I know where have you picked up these notes from. Information is not going to be the place for classrooms. Classrooms have to be a place where knowledge and wisdom can be actually shared. Go to the next one. Go to the next one. You can play this movie. This, of course, you would have seen some of these things by several companies where people are able to launch a drone from their palm top. They are able to make a small miniature drone. All of this is no longer cock and bull story as we thought 5 years back. And these are very good examples of how engineering has merged with fundamental science. And mathematics, so it is no longer STEM. Usually they say science, technology, engineering and mathematics. It is actually STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts and mathematics. I was so happy when Naresh Garu was actually having, a small dance program in between talks. Do you know, friends, how much of mathematics is there in our own Nadhopasana? Do you know the mathematics in our classical music? There are courses today which are being taught using arts. 35% of our subject in engineering is actually arts today. Go to the next one. Next one. I'll just show you a few glimpses of my own laboratory, because Dr. Kalam was I was fortunate to work with him for about 6 to 7 years during the later part of my career. Photographs that you see here, he came, I remember in 94, he used to come there when he was the chairman of DRDO. The Agni program had just begun in a hypersonic wind tunnel. I told him that I have a shock tunnel where I can generate hypersonic flow, which is a flow where velocities are typically about 6,000 kilometers per hour. He asked me, can I see a shock wave? And I said, I have no money. And at that time, we ended up putting money from our PF to start a laboratory. Today, I am very glad to say that this is the largest laboratory in the entire world. And all the facilities that you see here, they all are being built by students like you for us in IASC. It is a proud moment for all of us. And Dr. Kalam started the Center of Excellence in Hypersonics way back in 2010. A fanciful thing where he handed over a check for 5 crores to my own director and said, catch hold of an youngster and dump hypersonics on his head. And that unfortunate or fortunate youngster was me. The entire program actually was started like this. Normally, people write proposals and then go to funding agencies. I never actually wrote a proposal. It was he who said India needs hypersonics in a big way along with Dr. Shivutanu Pillai. Go to the next one. Hypersonics is one big technology. You will find a lot of interesting things. In fact, many news items you will read where you can go from Bangalore to Delhi in 15 minutes, Tokyo to New York in 2 hours' time. Today, a German company is thinking of having cargo transfer across the world in 1.5 hours. This is today we have the largest shock tunnel which is being used in hypersonic technology in the country. I am sure the previous speaker would know he was involved in the hypersonic wind tunnel projects in DRDO. Go to the next one. There are several things. I will not get into these detail. Go to the next one. Except to tell you, life, friends, becomes meaningful when you can wipe a single tear from anybody's common man's eyes. I never thought one day I have given you a big lecture on science, engineering, and technology. I will show you only one example how in my own lifetime I was able to do science, engineering, and technology. One of my medical doctor, I was able to do science, engineering, and technology. One of my medical doctor, I wanted to become a doctor badly, but although I got a seat, I could not pursue. I ended up being an engineer. But I am glad today I have graduated 2 doctors for their PhD program in IASC. So he came back from US and he asked me a very innocuous question. What happens to endothelial cell when they are exposed to shock wave? And that began our journey of trying to understand basic science. At that time, we never had an application in mind. But slowly over a period of time, it so turned out, today we have a device which is a wound healing device for diabetic patients. And normally for diabetic foot is a very common problem. The wound doesn't heal. But using shock wave, which is a part of hypersonic today, we are able to heal wound, not just in diabetic patient, even in our soldiers who are in the battlefield where there is a frostbite. And now a US company is funding this entire program to take it across the world. Very recently, the field trials are going on in the hospital. When I went, there was a teacher from a remote part in Karnataka. And on the day I went, his entire wound has actually healed. And the kind of feeling that all the entire family had was equivalent to much more than a Nobel Prize. The life becomes meaningful when you contribute to society. Atmano mokshartam jagathitaya cha, said Swami Vivekananda. Dr. Kalam kept on telling that you should serve the society. In fact, I remember once in Tanjavur during a breakfast, I asked him, sir, what is the way India can become a developed nation? He kept on, everybody were there and he asked all of them and they gave some answer, but he finally said, become the best electronic engineer, become the best mechanical engineer, become the best doctor, become the best in whatever you do, India will be a developed place. Friends, we need to take pride in whatever we do, and this is one such example where you can actually contribute and make money. Don't shy away from dreaming, designing, delivering, and making dollars. Lakshmi and Saraswati can reside in the same house. Don't shy away from thinking, if I read, I will not make money. It is very important for you to become your own Go to the next one, please. Of course, don't take some photos. I am very glad that we were able to take the entire journey, and this is also first such project. Go to the next one. And you need to really figure out one slide. I just have two more slides. I will wind up. You need to acquire some skill in life, friends. Domain expertise is very important, as I told you. The skill can be anything. A vegetable cutter cutting vegetables beautifully is a skill. Mother cooking wonderful food is a skill. Please pick up a skill. Without skill, you will not be in a position to make a mark. Of course, you should not fall ill. Take care of your body. And you should also need to have a strong will. And of course, you should not have any frill. You should not have any kind of, ego. And the last one is you need to go for a kill whenever you have an opportunity. I will just wind up by saying, I don't know how many of you have had dosas? How many of you can make dosas? When you make dosa in your house, on a tawa, dosa tawa, if you take some water and put it on the hot tawa, what happens? It evaporates, right? Water evaporates. How many of you have seen a lotus flower? Have you seen a lotus leaf? Have you seen a dirty lotus leaf? Lotus leaf will never be dirty. Go back and check. Actually, there are nano ridges on the lotus leaf, and that is now a big idea on which paints are made where the dust doesn't stick. Imagine this situation. Early in the morning when you are walking, there is a small drop of water on the lotus leaf. Sun shines brightly. It glistens like a... And usually lotus leaf will be drooping by 30 degrees. But when the wind blows, even that lotus leaf basically falls down. But the same drop of water, if it resides in a shell below the sea for about, say, 6 months, it actually becomes an invaluable pearl. Friends, your life is like the drop of water. It is you who should decide whether you want to become a drop of water on a dosa tawa which evaporates instantaneously. Hamsa, Jesus Christ, all of them, because they worked for the society. If you work for yourself, this world will mercilessly throw you out of the memory. If you want to really be known, then you need to make sure that we do something very critical. I'm always reminded of a very short story. I will tell to a teacher who walked into a class. Room, a young girl came up and held her hand like I was born maybe 20 years earlier. The teacher saw the hand and said, oh, in your hand there is a butterfly. The students are she was very unhappy. Students always want to prove the teachers wrong. And the teacher always thinks he knows more than the student. The moment the teacher said it is a butterfly, the student asked the second question. Sir, please tell me whether it is a male or a female. This is a very tricky question, right? But the teacher said in any case she cannot make out the difference. He said it is a male. The student asked the third question. Sir, please tell me whether it is dead or alive. This is a very dangerous question because the butterfly lives for only 1 week. It is a 15 millimeter creature. If the teacher says it is dead, the student can simply open up and the butterfly will fly, teacher would be proved wrong. But suppose if the teacher said it is, alive, all that the student has to do is just tighten the wrist, it will die. So the teacher very quietly said, it is all in your hands. Success, failure, happiness, sorrow. Friends, it is all in our hands. It is not in somebody's hand. Please remember, Before I say this, and I just want you to watch in some close, just a half a minute video is there after this. Please remember in our life, let us always make sure that our tongue is always like a sugar factory. Tongue should be like a sugar factory. Please talk good things. Don't get angry. It is not worth it. Let your heart always be like a love factory, not Shah Rukh Khan love. You should love everybody. So your heart should be like a love factory. Your brain should be like an ice factory. Don't get angry. It is not worth it. Life is very short. Friends, if your tongue is like a sugar factory, if your heart is like a love factory, if your head is like an ice factory, your life will be satisfactory. I just want to go to the next one, please. Go to the next one. Sometimes I feel life keeps you busy like this. Just watch this movie, and I don't want you to get into this. Life is very, very short. So don't become, life is very, very short, right? So you enjoy life. Wish you all the best. The very fact that all of you have come here today and trying to spend some thoughts on Dr. Kalam is a very, very special thing. And in fact, Dr. Kalam, in fact, this is also a question that I asked him once, and he said, the only way we can change, get rid of corruption is in a house. If you refuse to wear the jewelry that is brought by your father, which you know is actually from corrupt means. Refuse to get into a car which your father has got. Probably that is the only way that you can, He was always a person who lived the life of a wonderful being. In some sense, he was very selfless. He was not really an engineer or a scientist or anything. To me, he was more like a saint who always believed the life is there only to serve the society. And it is in that context I would thank Naresh for the opportunity. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful session. Now I request Dr. Nagendra Babu, sir, to facilitate Professor Jagadish Garu. Please kindly accept a token of love from KIYE Foundation.
పతాకం ఎగిరంటుంది కలాం కలాం సలాం సలాం జనం సమస్తం నిలిచంటుంది కలాం కలాం సలాం సలాం పచ్చని పైరు పొలమంటుంది కలాం కలాం సలాం సలాం వచ్చే కాలం గళమంటుంది కలాం కలాం సలాం సలాం
Our dream.
Thank you, sir, for the honors.
See that one should not be afraid of problems.
Now, we are honored to have Professor Ashok Kumar Pandey to present the third session, Innovating the Future of Next Generation of Engineers. We are thrilled to welcome Dr. Ashok Kumar Pandey from the Department of Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering at IIT Hyderabad. Dr. Pandey is a respected educator and researcher known for his contributions to the field of mechanical and aerospace engineering. His dedication to research and teaching has nurtured countless students, preparing them to lead the next wave of innovation in the aerospace industry. As a leader in both research and education, Dr. Pandey's insights are invaluable. We look forward to hearing his thoughts on the latest advancements in aerospace technology and the role of education in fostering innovation. We invite Dr. his address, share his expertise on the evolving trends in aerospace engineering and the importance.
Much. Thank you, Naresh Garu, for invitation to such august gathering. And it is really invitation to such august gathering. And it is really my pleasure to be among Dr. Kalam's birthday, and also we remember all his learnings through all the talks that really given by the two speakers. So just to, because my lecture at this point is really apt in a sense that I graduated from the Indian Institute of Science that Professor Jagdishan was talking about, and I must say, those who have not visited, I am the testimony of that particular place. I would say that please visit it. It is when I entered into ISC, I was like, knew nothing. When I graduated, I really, appreciate the learning and all the things that you will really go through. Now, after coming from ISC, we had a lot to do. And during that time, in Hyderabad, there were talks of, IIT being established. And IITH, which started in 2008, that time so in early 2008, I graduated from ISC. And after that, I went to, for my postdoc. And then 2010 is the one when many of the new faculty members started coming up. Then I saw that Hyderabad is a cyber city, and that is the best place where Dr. Kalam started RCI Hyderabad, right? You see that RCI, where a lot of space-related activities going on, and it's all because of RCI. You see that a lot of development in electronics, lot of developments in the aerospace activities around the city happening. So when I joined in IITS after 2 years, our faculty colleagues took, the decision to rename mechanical engineering as the mechanical and aerospace engineering. Now, why so? Because you will see that many, institute offers bachelor's in aerospace, but when you do research, you really need a synergy of mechanical and aerospace. And that's what we decided. We will not need a synergy of mechanical and aerospace. And that's what we decided. We will not offer, but we will offer the higher degrees and do area of mechanical and aerospace. So I will take you to the journey of how we started, what we are today, and what we are doing in the mechanical and aerospace engineering. And also I'll give you some example why these two fields has to work together. Yeah. All right. So it looks like no slides, but I can speak. So in general, when you look for aerospace research, so you are having structure-related problems. Then you are having combustion-related problem. Then you are having guidance and control, and then you are having imaging, right? So what are the things like a mechanical engineers think that I can contribute to the aerospace industry? So under that compact, you will have to see that you have to make a composite. Composite is, how many of you know composite? Okay. So composite So composite basically consists of more composite. Okay. So composite basically consists of more than one pure metal or material, and based on that you can also try to tailor its function, right? So, and it is very light, and also strength is very light, and also strength is very good. So most of the aircraft, if you just see the aircraft bodies, composites, and when you are making this light body, how do you really make it? You have to make a layer by layer. You will have to, follow some mechanism to increase its strength. So what are the things that really help in increasing the strength of composites? The carbon nanotube, right? Carbon is amazing material that we come across. So related with that, we are doing a lot of work related to composites, and I would say there's a lot of opportunities for people from material science, people from mechanical and aerospace to work in this area. Now, coming to high-speed flow, where we talk about the flow happening at very high Mach number. So let us say you are having aircraft moving at a very high speed, right? Now you will see that in the front portion, in the front portion, you'll see that there is a very sharp nose, right? Why do we have it? And have you ever noticed what happens if some bullet, or even if some aircraft goes at a very high speed through the air? So there will be heating of that surface happens, and the air sticks to the surface because the surfaces are not very smooth, right? It's also had some roughness. So when the high is moving through any air or underwater, you will see that it will just flow over it and try to erode the material which is coated on the top. So many of the aircraft's front portion, you will see it always has some different materials. So materials is another very unique area in which we need a lot of expertise, and thanks to AI, ML that you talk about, it is really helping us to choose what kind of material really will be able to give us the strength or the properties that we are looking for, right? So you should see that for high speed, low speed, and different for applications, how to select the materials. Now, second, what is called guidance and control. So after you made, now after designing, so just to give you certain, design. Many people think that you just take Solid Edge or SolidWorks or some CAD model, make the design, and it's all done, right? So that's not really, like behind that, there are a lot of engineering that goes into it. So you have to talk about, different effects related with the space. And so, for example, you have aerodynamics, you have the weight, you have a controls at what speed. And aerospace is one of the industry. You should not have a even chance of the failure. Safest product that has come in this particular area. If you guys remember, a few days back, there was Air India plane, it got stuck. The gear got stuck. And luckily, everybody was safe, it was landed. But the thing is, when you think as a designer, all these cases, like how to really, make it work, it's not just, sometimes, you will think of an engineer, an engineer will think of just an object, like that's why I'm going to make it, but you all to come back, right? So these are some of the things that, as an engineer, you will have to think about from the design point of view, from the manufacturing point of view, from the working point of view, and finally, under which condition it is going to work in. You have to take care of all the environment conditions, all the things, and that's how, design of a product really comes up. So there is something called, Professor was taking you through different types of areas which are coming up. So drone is another area that many of you are, thinking that this is what going on, but how to really control it. So I would also, happy to announce that IIT Hyderabad got the 1 credit course in our institute. And with all his support, with all his love, and we are trying to achieve his dream in the technology. And with this word, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for a fantastic session.
పతాకం ఎగిరంటుంది కలాం కలాం సలాం సలాం జనం సమస్తం నిలిచంటుంది కలాం కలాం సలాం సలాం పచ్చని పైరు పొలమంటుంది
guys,
సలాం సలాం
yeah, Yashwant Abdi naina Ram. Good afternoon. గట్టిగా చెప్పండి అందరూ సో కొంచెం లేట్గా వచ్చిన వాళ్ళకి, ముందు వచ్చిన వాళ్ళకి, మధ్యలో వచ్చిన వాళ్ళకి, నా వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ ఫర్ ఆఫ్టర్ దిస్ స్మాల్ టాక్. యశ్వంత్ జీ, మీ అందరూ డాక్టర్ కలాం విజన్ ఏంటంటే ప్రపంచం అంతా కూడా వెళ్ళి మనం ప్రపంచం అంతా కూడా బెస్ట్ యూనివర్సిటీల్లో చదవాలి, బెస్ట్గా ఎదగాలి, ప్రపంచాన్ని మనం భారతదేశాన్ని ఒక ఫస్ట్ నెంబర్ 1 కంట్రీగా ఉంచాలి అనేటువంటిది. అందుకోసం మనకి మీరందరూ హైయర్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్కి చేయాలంటే మీకు ఫినాన్షియల్గా అందరూ చేయలేరు, చాలా ఇబ్బందులు ఉంటాయి. కాబట్టి దానికి సంబంధించిన హెల్ప్ చేసేటువంటి ఒక కనెక్టివిటీ ఆర్గనైజేషన్ ఉండింది, మీకు సపోర్ట్ చేస్తారు. అది ఒకటి ఉంటుంది. తర్వాత లంచ్ చేసి వెంటనే ఎవరు కూడా అక్కడే ఇక్కడ ఉండకుండా మళ్ళీ వచ్చి మీ సీట్లలో కూర్చోవాలి. యూ హ్యావ్ టు కమ్ క్విక్లీ. అండ్ I request all the faculty coordinators and student coordinators accompany your students. పైన వాళ్ళు పల్లవి బిడ్డలు కిందకి వచ్చి ఇక్కడ హేమంతు, శశి కొంత ఇక్కడ ఉండాలి. తర్వాత మీకు ఒక ఎక్స్క్లూజివ్గా స్పేస్ సెషన్, చాలా గొప్ప స్పీకర్ ఎన్ఆర్ఎస్సి డైరెక్టర్ డాక్టర్ ప్రకాష్ చౌహాన్ గారు వస్తారు. దాని తర్వాత ఇప్పుడు మీకు అనిమేష్ ఆర్యన్ అని మనకంటే కొన్ని 5-6 years మీకంటే పెద్ద ఉంటారు, ఒక క్వాంటమ్ టెక్నాలజీస్ కంపెనీని పెట్టి పెద్దగా రన్ చేస్తున్నాడు, డిఫెన్స్ స్పేస్ టెక్నాలజీ వాళ్ళకి ఇస్తున్నాడు. ఆయన వచ్చి మీతో మాట్లాడతారు ఇప్పుడు. సో వన్స్ ది లంచ్ ఈజ్ రెడీ ఒకసారి చెప్పండి. యశ్వంత్ జీ, హెచ్డిఎఫ్సి క్రెడల్, ఎస్ రామా. సో అయితే మనందరం కూడా లంచ్ చేసి తర్వాత మీ అందరికి ఒక సింపుల్ ఏమంటారు, సింపుల్గా ఒక చిన్న పని చెప్దాం అనుకుంటున్నాము. మీరందరూ యూటీఎస్లో 3rd 4th year వాళ్ళు ఉంటే, ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్ కోసం చూస్తుంటే, లేదా ఎవరైనా అయిపోయిన వాళ్ళు కూడా ఉంటే 2024 పాస్డ్ అవుట్, 20 ఈ ఇయర్ కూడా అవ్వాలి అనుకుంటే 3rd 4th year వాళ్ళు యూటీఎస్ వెబ్సైట్ని విజిట్ చేయండి. తర్వాత మీకు అక్కడ స్కానర్ ఉంటుంది, మీ అందరికీ ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్ ఆపర్చునిటీ, ఇంటర్న్షిప్ లాంటివి ఉంటుంది. మీరు యూటీఎస్ యూనో టెక్నాలజీస్ వెబ్సైట్ విజిట్ చేయండి బిడ్డ. సో అది హెల్ప్ఫుల్గా ఉంటుంది. తర్వాత ఎన్ఆర్ఎస్సి డైరెక్టర్ సార్ వచ్చినప్పుడు స్పేస్ రిలేటెడ్ టాక్, అది క్వశ్చన్ అండ్ ఆన్సర్ సెషన్ ఉంటుంది. మీరు హ్యాండ్ రేజ్ చేసి అడగవచ్చు. మధ్యలో ఈ లంచ్ టైంలో మా రిక్వెస్ట్ ఏంటంటే, మా అందరి రిక్వెస్ట్, ఒక కేఐవైఎఫ్ అండి ఫౌండేషన్, కేఐవైఈ ఫౌండేషన్ అని మీకు ఒక వెబ్సైట్, అది యూట్యూబ్ ఉంది, అందరూ సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేయండి. హేమంత్ వాళ్ళు మీకు మీరు లంచ్ చేసేటప్పుడు, నడిచేటప్పుడు, ఏం చేసినా కూడా కూర్చునేటప్పుడు అక్కడ కొంచెం ఫోన్స్ వాడకూడదు. ఒక ప్రోటోకాల్ ప్రోగ్రామ్ ఉంది అక్కడ. ఎప్పుడు నాగేశ్వరరావు గారు ఉన్నారైనా. తర్వాత మీకు కోఆర్డినేటర్స్ అందరూ 3 o'clockకి 3 PM అందరు కోఆర్డినేటర్స్ ఇటువైపు ఉండాలి. వాలంటీర్స్ అందరూ కూడా ఒకసారి లంచ్ అయిపోయినాక ఇటు పక్కకు ఉండాలి. ఐ రిక్వెస్ట్ ఆల్ ద ఫ్యాకల్టీ కోఆర్డినేటర్స్ మనకి ఇటువైపు ఉండాలని రిక్వెస్ట్ చేస్తున్నాము. లంచ్ రెడీనా? సో థ్యాంక్ యూ ఫ్రెండ్స్. అందరూ లంచ్ చేసి త్వరగా వచ్చేయండి. అక్కడ ఇస్రో డిఆర్డిఓ వాళ్ళ ఎగ్జిబిషన్ ఉంది, ఒకసారి గట్టిగా చప్పట్లు కొడదామా? మీకు మనకి సపోర్ట్ చేస్తున్నందుకు చైర్మన్, డిఆర్డిఓ డైరెక్టర్స్ అండ్ ఎంప్లాయీస్, ఇస్రో డైరెక్టర్స్ గట్టిగా. ఇంక సరిపోదురాయి. ఎవరిదైనా కార్కి ఉంది బిడ్డ